powerful when we talk about the warfare, the resistance, the axis of resistance, or are they less powerful of a force, unlike the forces we have seen in the region? So this is Al Hudaydah. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about how powerful Houthis have become, and I'll tell you the weak point of Israel dealing with the Houthis. So this is Hudaydah in Yemen. This is the port city in Yemen, and it came under attack by both Israel, UK, and also we know US is trying to destroy the Houthis military installations there. What is the weak point? So the weak point here is this distance from Israel all the way to Yemen. You can see how far it is. You have to cross how many countries? 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 of them. So Saudi Arabia, Jordan, you have to cross over Egypt, you have to cross over looks like most part of Saudi Arabia. I mean, the Saudi Arabia in of itself is a big country, so you have to come all the way from one end to the other end to reach to Yemen. And the problem with that is that Saudi Arabia, if they help Israeli military, if they help Israeli F-35 to reach to Yemen from Israel to strike on the Yemeni cities, Sana'a or the Hudaydah port, then the Houthis, they are going to retaliate against Saudi government. And look at the proximity of Saudi Arabia to Yemen. Only maybe a few miles away from the Yemeni border. From the Hudaydah port, you can easily target Saudi Arabia. From Sana'a, you can target Saudi Arabia. In other words, for Saudi Arabia to help Israel reach to Yemen and strike them is something very, very risky, because they can come under attack by the Houthis at any time. And we have seen, guys, what happened when the Houthis, they tried to destroy Saudi Arabia's oil field, the Aramco oil field and all that, and also how Iran was able to help them with the drones and the missiles. Saudi Arabia, in other words, they're not in any way, shape, or form, any position to help the Houthis, help the Israeli forces and risking attack from Houthis, especially now that they are going to be holding the FIFA Soccer World Cup 2034, and also they have a vision of 2030. They do not want to take any risk. They do not want to destabilize their own country. They do not even want to destabilize Yemen. That's why they have a cessation of attack on Yemeni Houthis. For Israel, if they really want to target Yemeni Houthis, they really need to cross over Saudi Arabia, and they have to take a long flight. Unless they do it, it will be almost impossible for the Zionist forces to attack Houthis in order to stop them from attacking Israel. But this is not happening. This is not panning out for the Zionist state at all. What is happening, in fact, is quite the opposite. The attack is increasing, and there is now a new report that basically says that the drone attack and the missile attack on Israel by the Houthis, they're becoming more and more every single day. Take a look at this particular picture. You can see the crater here, and this is in Israel. Okay, this is in Tel Aviv. This picture was taken on Saturday, and this is where a missile landed. So this is not a ballistic missile. This is just a regular missile launched from Yemen all the way to Tel Aviv. And you can see the damage. The crater is big. And you can see this guy. He's actually a IDF or ITF soldier, terrorist forces soldier. And he's quite surprised. I mean, take a look at how he's looking at this. I mean, this is huge. The impact was big. And this is just a missile launched from Yemen, not even a ballistic missile impact. The ballistic missile impact will be much bigger. But the key point here is this. So the attack is increasing, and the attack set off air raid sirens across central Israel, creating a lot of panic in Tel Aviv. Hundreds and thousands of residents, and they have entered into bomb shelters. The missile landed in a playground in Tel Aviv and elsewhere, and this is becoming more of like a regular thing. So Yahya Sari, a military spokesman for the Houthis, said the group's fighters had launched the missile to aid the victory of the oppressed Palestinian people and its fighters, quote unquote. He also claimed it had struck a military target. And I said this, guys, in my previous video, the reason they're increasing these attacks is because they want to distract US and Israel from Iran. as I have pointed out, there's a great possibility that Israel and U.S. together, right now Trump administration, they're already working on it with Israel to attack Iranian nuclear sites. I personally believe this is to distract U.S. and Israel from Iran getting a nuclear weapon before Donald Trump takes office. That's my prediction. I could be wrong. On Thursday, Israeli fighter jets flew over 1,000 miles to bombard sites. So these numbers are increasing, and they look 1,000 miles they have to cross all the way from Israel to Yemen. And I showed you the map just now to illustrate how far it is. 1,000 miles, not kilometers. So in kilometers, how many kilometers? Maybe 1,500, 1,600, I don't know. But this is a long distance. So when your enemy is that far and they're able to successfully launch these ballistic missiles and other projectiles into your territories, then it becomes a completely different nightmare than the one you have ever faced. And so now Israel is really panicking. They made a statement recently, and I'll talk to you about that particular statement in a second. But see, this is where the problem is. This is where the weakness of Israel is, the fake state of Israel. Because it is 1,000 miles to bomber sites in Houthi-controlled Yemen. They have to cross over a long distance, including the capital Sana'a. The Israeli military said it had struck power plants as well as fuel and oil tanks. Israel and Houthis, who control much of the northwestern Yemen, Israel and the Houthis, who control, have traded first since October 2023, last year, when the Yemeni militia began firing rockets and drones at Israel in what it had described as a campaign in solidarity with the Palestinians in Gaza. Now, I also want to draw your attention to something else. Let's take a look at this particular statement from this guy, Israeli, he's the defense minister, Israel Katz, and he actually came out and made a shocking, I would call it a shocking statement, because they always want to hide this kind of thing from the public. But this time, he's like, no, I'm going to be talking about this. Let me make this announcement. So let's take a listen.
הבסנו את החמאס, ניצחנו את החיזבאללה, עברנו את מערכות ההגנה באיראן ופגענו במערכי הייצור, מוטטנו את משטר אסד בסוריה, הכינו קשות בציר הרשע, ואנחנו נכה קשות גם בארגון הטרור החותי שנשאר עומד אחרון ויורה על ישראל. נפגע בתשתיות אסטרטגיות שלו ונערוף את ראש מנהיגיו, בדיוק כמו שעשינו להניע סינואר ונסראללה בטהרן, עזה ובלבנון, נעשה בחודדה ובצנעא.
This was very, very shocking, and the reason I said that is because normally the Zionist state, they would always want to hide or cover up this kind of stories, distancing themselves from being linked to an assassination, whether it is Hassan Nasrallah or Yahya Sinwar or in this case Ismail Haniyeh. They will not claim that publicly. But this time they're coming out and claiming exactly that. The question is why? Why this guy, Israel Katz, this is a defense minister of Israel, why he's now acknowledging, why now he's admitting, why the Zionist government is now taking responsibility for the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran? It is because they are threatening the Houthis. Yahya Sari, also the leader of Houthis, Ansarullah, Israel is now using this scare tactic. They know, the reason for that is because they know that going all the way to Yemen, 1,000 or more than 1,000 miles away from Israel, and try to stop them from launching attacks on us could be very, very problematic. In fact, it is impossible. The only way right now Israel can retaliate against the Yemeni Houthis would be, one of the most effective ways, I should say, would be to launch rocket attack on Yemen, which Israel would not be doing because they have fighter jets and they do not have those sophisticated long-range missiles. They were not prepared for it. The military system, the Zionist entity, they were not designed to attack countries like Yemen. They were designed to attack countries like Libya, or not Libya, Lebanon, countries like Syria, within close proximity. So the range they have for those missiles, they are not designed. In the United States, they did not give Israel as many of those long-range missiles like they gave them with the short-range missiles and also those F-35 fighter jets and other weaponries. Therefore, for Israel to really survive this attack coming from the Houthis, the best way would be launching an attack from Israel using those rockets and missiles, which they lack big time. Now, the other thing that you also have to understand here, which is Israel right now, the reason they cannot afford a war with Houthis is not just because it is too far, but also because, as I have reported recently, the Israeli army, they're seeing increasing number of its majors are quitting their jobs. Increasing number of their troops, these terrorist troops, are quitting their jobs. And increasing number of their population are leaving their country. The main reason for these troops and also these people, the citizen, the Zionist fake state of Israel, they're leaving is because they cannot find peace. They're not safe. They're not secure in Israel. This is why there is this mass exodus taking place. Therefore, it is becoming a big deal for the Zionist state to really get rid of Houthis, to get them agree to some kind of ceasefire, if you like, where they will stop attacking Israel, because Israel right now is doomed. The economy is suffering, people are leaving, the military is exhausted, they're tired, and a lot of them are taking their own lives. Therefore, it makes sense that this guy, Israel Katz, this defense minister of Israel, will come out and claim that we have killed Ismail Haniyeh. I'm making that statement, and we will do the exact same thing with Houthis. We are going to be heading those leadership. The leadership echelon of Houthis will be gone, just like what we have done to Hezbollah, and also they sometimes claim even what they have done to Hamas, even though they cannot defeat Hamas, but sometimes they take credit for that too. This is why you are saying this guy is making that kind of a shocking claim. Now, the Houthis are not problematic just to the state of Israel. They are becoming a huge headache also for US and UK. Now, Yemen's Houthis claim they have downed US fighter jets over Red Sea. 2 days ago, when the US military, they claimed there was this friendly fire, and because of that, they have lost 2 fighter jets, F-18. Remember that? Now Houthis are claiming, and I said this from the very beginning, that the Houthis were responsible. They had something to do with this. Now Houthis are making it very, very clear that they are actually the one who downed or shot down those US F-18 fighter jets. The Yemeni Houthi group claimed Sunday to have shot down a US F-18 fighter jet in an attack on an aircraft carrier in the Red Sea. Military spokesman Yahya Sari said in a statement that Houthi forces successfully, quote-unquote, foiled a U.S. attack on Yemen. This is a direct claim coming from Houthis that, yes, we are the one who downed these aircrafts. Don't play with us. Don't lie to the public. Aircraft carrier USS Harry Truman and several of its accompanying destroyers were targeted as the aggressive attack on Yemen began last night, he said. Sari explained that the operation was carried out using 8 cruise missiles and 17 drones, resulting in the downing of an F-18 fighter jet, while the destroyers attempted to intercept the Yemeni drones and missiles. Early on Sunday, the Israeli Central Command CENTCOM announced that a U.S. Navy F-18 fighter jet was shot down by friendly fire over the Red Sea. On Thursday, Israeli warplanes launched airstrikes on Yemen's coastal city of Al-Hudaydah and the capital Sana'a in retaliation for Houthi drone and missile attacks. This claim that the Israeli warplanes launched attack on Yemen and the Houthi military installations was taken very, very seriously by the Houthis, that Israel did not think they would. And they started sending more rockets and more missiles, and then ballistic missile, and then fighter jet was shot down. So Houthis right now, they're heavily engaged in war with not just Israel, but also US and UK. The attacks were the third wave of airstrikes launched by Tel Aviv against Houthi-held sites in Yemen since July. The Houthis have targeted Israeli cargo ships or those associated with Tel Aviv in the Red Sea with missiles and drones in a show of support with the Gaza Strip, where 45,000 more than that people have been killed in Israel's genocidal war since October 7th. Now, Israeli Defense Minister also claiming that we will behead the leadership echelon of Yemen, and to really tune into this, we also have Israeli military talking about this. Take a look at this particular video, this particular statement, how important it is now for the Zionists to deal with the Houthis. They are now coming out and issuing threat to the Houthis. The military is issuing threat because, again, this is becoming a huge problem and a big headache for the Zionist military. Let's take a listen.
Over the last 14 months, the Iran-backed Houthi terror regime in Yemen has launched hundreds of missile and UAV attacks against the State of Israel. This happened again tonight. The Houthi terror regime fired a missile towards central Israel, forcing millions of civilians to take cover in bomb shelters. In the last 2 weeks only, the Houthis fired a drone that hit an apartment block in southern Israel. And on Sunday they fired a long-range missile towards central Israel. The Houthis have been carrying out attacks against Israel in violation of international law, and the Houthi regime is a threat to peace and security in the region. Today, the IDF conducted precise strikes on Houthi military targets in Yemen, including ports and energy infrastructures in Sana'a, which the Houthis have been using in ways that effectively contributed to their military actions. Israel will not hesitate to act in order to defend itself and its citizens from the Houthis' attacks. The Houthis are also targeting other countries in the Middle East, the United States, and other countries in the world. With their attacks on international shipping vessels and routes, in the Red Sea and other places, the Houthis have become a global threat. Who is behind the Houthis? Iran. The regime in Iran funds, arms, and directs the Houthis' terror activities. As we have shown against other enemies in other arenas, we will continue to act against anyone in the Middle East that threatens the State of Israel, and we will defend the people.